What's up, y'all? I just wanted to get back with you and build with you a little bit. Just want to do my part as usual. Try to add a little substance. So much going on. I just been going through the most. These times are trying everywhere. It seems. We got inflation going down. We got so much tension between nations and things like that, and politics. Uh, Actually, even on the most practical end, my work van has been in the shop now for almost 2 months, and that's like a first. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And also, but on another note, whenever things like that happen, I've learned over time not to get bummed out, to have those ice water veins as I've expressed, and to just push on and persevere. So I always try to find something else to get into or to do to be productive. Make sure I don't miss a beat as much as possible. Keep it on that positive note. So with that being said, though, still so much going on and still trying to get to it. I just wanted to be able to get my chance to communicate with you. You know what I'm saying? As I love to do, as you know so much, because I love you. And yeah, so much though. I've been working on a lot of music. Been doing stuff. Just finished mixing a new song with my boy Random from Area 51's Fire Joint. Just been doing a new project with my man G La the Chef. It's gonna be a surprise. It's called Cosmic Rock Box, and it's coming soon. And it's gonna be some other stuff. It's not a hip hop album. It's a different type of album, more like an alternative hip hop album. It does have hip hop elements in it, but it's also got like a lot of electronic elements or rock elements in it and things like that. So it's gonna be very interesting and free, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm excited about that. Let's see, what else can I touch on? Just a lot going on right now, and let's see. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about negative, dark, or evil energy, air quotes, and how that pertains, how you recognize it and everything like that. So I remember I took some notes. Let me take a look. Okay, so evil energy, dark energy, demons, the whispers, as they call them, and circles of friends and people that you may come in contact with or know, stuff like that. So dark energy is recognized in a number of ways. A person's aura, their attitude, the way they carry themselves. Also, there's an attitude that goes along with it, and usually the attitude is very dismissive, very closed. These are the descriptions I picked up from learning everything when I was studying. And you can find more of these characteristics in books that have the dark studies and things like that. I know it's spooky. A lot of people don't like to get into that, neither did I. But in order to know how my enemy moves, then I had to, get those arts and studies as well in. But I would say that it's very dismissive energy. It's very one-sided. It only wants to deal with the material aspects of things that are easy come, easy go in a sense. So when you start talking about waking up and being, yourself, or doing things out of the ordinary, is very much against you and very dismissive, doesn't really like to hear what you have to say, very much into its own type of outcomes for things. And also those things can be in friends, they could be in family, complete strangers, but a lot of times it's in people's families too. And just to let you know, some of the other information I thought that was interesting that I found says that a lot of the times the people who are attacked the most are actually the most powerful. And so that's why this energy seeks people out that have that kind of inner ability and strength to recognize themselves. When you begin to start to manifest in your physical, spiritual, mental, and electric form, your electric presence, then you start to become more and more free. You can see things that you can't unsee anymore, because now a state of scientific order and practical order, and then disruption by emotion and things like that. So you'll also notice that with negative energy or evil energy or dark energy often goes off of desire or emotion. So always wants you to feed into your anger, your sadness, your low point, and to feel less and to feel that shame to the point where you feel less than anyone else, or anything else, and then you might even commit to some acts that you normally wouldn't do. And that's one of the things about the teaching, is learning about how you always have a choice, and it's always about the moments, always about moments in life. And you could even go in deep thought about something, but once you commit to it, now you've committed the sin, which, let's talk about that word sin, which I know people kind of attach that to like, oh, you're gonna burn and all that kind of stuff, but it's more like error is what I found in all the studies, is it technically means error. So errors can be what? Corrected. You can, if you have an eraser and it can be erased, you can do that too with enough time and concentration. But it often comes down to you figuring out the error in your ways and then correcting that, trying to do it better each day, as I often bring up and try to share that. And just like I'm trying to share everything that I come across now, I just believe in the times that we're in, we all, can share or use a little bit of substance. That's all. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of that in my music and stuff, and so I really look forward to it. If y'all, check me out, check out your people's doing this thing. And also, let's talk about demons, from like, the negative energy recognition to demons. Now we know that the negative energy recognition is very dismissive. It's very, what do you call it, exclusive, not inclusive, exclusive. It pushes things out and doesn't let things in. It's much like the negative polarity with magnetism. It pushes things out, versus attract them in. Positive energy attracts things, builds a mass of substance until it has its own gravitational force, because this is the focal point of energy in a being and their existence, their reason for being here, and that becomes something in the world in physical, tangible form, which is positive, because you can touch it, taste it, smell it. That's when it takes on a positive form. The negativity's positive form is one that is in the process of breaking down the substance back into its pieces, or maybe even different pieces that by the time it's done with it, because it'll have its nature to reconstruct and reform things into a new positive form, inevitably. And that's the trick on negativity. It doesn't know. It only has two choices. One is to eat itself whole, because it'll devour everything in its path to break it down by its nature until there's nothing left to devour but itself, and it'll dissipate. Or it will form with new elements in order to make itself anew, which is not like it was before, which makes it a new thing in positive, tangible presence. See what I'm saying there? So no matter what, things tend to follow natural, universal order, no matter what we do. So let's talk about now, move on to like what you would call like whispers and things like that, or demons, demons. And the demon side of things is, psychologically would be either things internalized or externally exposed to, that we would let form and take, or have presence and take form, actually is a better way to say it, until it becomes prominent in our life, and it can be observed either from the outside, or you can kind of like witness the hell this person is going through, which, let's talk about the word hell, which you can associate it with flame and prison like situation, or you can look at it as separation. If you ever hear someone talk about digging a shallow hell, it means to make a groove for water to be channeled, which is a separation. So in any form, when you hear that word, sometimes I'd like you to try to hear it a little bit differently, as a separation or a groove, in that sense, that causes a separation. So the hell actually is a person that's separated from their inner self, or humanity, or their humane side, their higher form, mentally and spiritually and health wise as well. And so you can see how when a person's not in touch with those qualities, when they're not learning, they're not growing, they're not nourishing, they're not taking enough time for themselves, they're not trying to heal, or even lend a branch here and there to heal others. Not saying to give their life, but they give the 5 minutes at least, right? That you could see that you fall into that separation, and that's when they become demons, because you've been neglecting all the things that set you free. Instead, you'll fall into a certain sort of prison, which is like a cycle of doing the same things that are unhealthy for you every day of your life and believing that it should be doing you better and then expecting results, which is the definition of insanity, which means that you've driven yourself insane from a cycle of actions that's been dictated to you from a system which uses imagery and sound and things like that to influence you, which we get into that a little bit, which is a mind control device in a sense. But anyway, let's just talk about how these demons are, and that's basically what they are, whichever way you want to slice it. If you want to look at it from a more esoteric sense, it's more like they're the entities that you can't see that exist in the negative quotient that believe in the self-serving principle in their existence. So whenever they leave this place, they go back into a negative quotient pool, and what they're all about is self-serving energy. So when they re-emerge again, they come down here and literally wreak havoc again and again and again. If you get into like the reincarnation stuff and stuff like that. Nevertheless, it's always a good rule of measure to say don't give power to things that you can't see. But then you have to give respect to them at the same time, because everything that you can't see is the most powerful and is what makes everything work. So let's just say coming down to these demons frequency, these negative frequency opens you up to what they call whispers. Moving on to that now. And the whispers is an introduction of those thoughts that you shouldn't react to that's in your brain. These thoughts, these whispers seek to occupy space in your consciousness. And so once they do, they seem to always say the same thing. And that's the part where I have to respect the idea of demons, because of the fact that what I found when I speak to people about this kind of understanding, if I see people in a low point, I kind of know what these voices have said, and I've experienced them myself. And they often say things like, you're not good enough. It's a comparison to an imagery that maybe your life doesn't accommodate, but nevertheless it becomes a standard for you to judge yourself against, and it makes you feel smaller and lower and more hollow. And so you're not really being yourself, you're letting go of the wheel, and respect is something that doesn't respect you, which is destructiveness. And so you start to slip into a spiral, and before you know it, you do start committing to those thoughts with your actions. The body follows the mind always, and so your health as well. So everything that could benefit you starts to work against you, even though it is your right to be free, and it is your gift to live and experience this place and wonder, and to be drawn into it so you can learn and then graduate to your highest level, to your best self. So you can kind of see how strange, though, that I took away from these conversations with different people that don't know each other, that these voices did whisper some of the same things. And those whispers are with doubt and negativity, saying that you can't do it, that you don't have the time, you're too old, or you don't have the strength. Whatever it is, it just separates you, it hells you again from what you should actually be doing. And so it detours you from becoming what you can be and what you should be. And it's easier said than done. It's an everyday practice. It's what you call actual religion, which if you look up the word religion, unless they changed it, but I know that it means daily practice or ritual. So whatever your daily ritual is, look at those actions closely and see what's working for you, see what isn't working for you, and what you'd like to add to those daily practices so that you can break yourself away from these whispers, these demons, and this negative or evil dark energy. And so just that's really what I wanted to touch on. And you can come, now that I've said these things, you can kind of, and I'm not the first one to say it either, but I don't act like I came up with this stuff. I didn't come up with this. I study and I like to learn a lot. So I always keep that in mind. But nevertheless, that's generally what I wanted to share with you. And you can hear it in your circles of friends and things like that, when you hear them doubting things that are possible, and then the next thing you know, the world of tomorrow is using that concept that this person was just laughed out of the room with. You start to hear people's doubt in themselves and how they knock other people that are doing well, that are healthy, that are good looking, that are making achievements, getting promoted, all these different things. You start to hear how people belittle themselves really while they belittle others. So you can tell that something else is taking more hold of their being, respectively. You know what I'm saying? And so, if you want to call that a possession of a demon, it could be an inner demon, it could be psychological, subconscious, but whatever way, it would be of the negative path. And so, that's really what I wanted to share. And dismissive too. It never has time to hear what you have to say. It never has time for anything. And always remember that. Anything other than self-fulfilling desire, mainly of the flesh, items of like objects, items, short thrills, things like that. So those are the characteristics. I just wanted to share a little bit more about that. And I love all of y'all. Please stay tuned. I got more music on the way. It's your peoples, King A.D.S, Aiyea the Shadow, and more to come. All right, y'all. Peace.